It's Tuesday, March 29th at 6 p.m. The Portsmouth Board of Canvassers special meeting is about to commence. Those present on the board are
Ellen Vadney, member.
Mark Cantor, member.
Conrad Donahue, alternate.
Nancy Zitka, chair. Great. Tonight, we have special guests. Our hired consultants from Election Data Services are here to make a presentation on their recommendations for re-precincting districts, boundaries, and designations in the town of Portsmouth as required after the House and Senate approved new districts based on the recent US Census report. We will allow public comment after the presentation. We respectfully ask that you provide your name, address, and limit your question to no more than 3 minutes, please. And the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. My name is Kim Brace, B-R-A-C-E. I'm president of a company called Election Data Services. My main GIS and staff person is Ryan Taylor, who's here also. We have positioned Ryan. He lives up here in Rhode Island, has for the last year, because we did all the redistricting for the state legislature and found it a long time ago, it's better to be in-house and be there on that side because you spend a lot of time doing that. We have Ryan here, and we have progressed having done the state house, state senate districts. We are now moving into working with town and city government for both any towns that have ward boundaries, which you don't have to worry about, but then also the precincting. And so that's why we're here tonight to talk about the precinct. So what we have is a software program that we've made use of for a long time that lets us see and draw alternative maps. And so what it is it's a software program that links the picture up on the top using GIS technology and a spreadsheet down at the bottom. And as we make changes up top in terms of what area would be in which precinct, the numbers down at the bottom will change. And so we can end up seeing and playing with different alternative ideas. And we wanted to do that. We're going to present to you one configuration, but we want to get input from you and get ideas and other kinds of things that might be possible. And talk about these. So what we have is, first off, you have only one state senator here, so you don't have to have another line dividing the town with state senate, but you do have several different state house districts. And so that's the red line that you see there. And so now that those have been set in stone, those are the boundaries by which you have to live within. So the question becomes is, how many precincts would go into those areas? Under state law, right now, the precinct boundaries or the precincts cannot have more than 3,000 registered voters. The state house has approved the bill language that changes that to 3,500. The state senate still has not. And we're sitting here waiting with bated breath and tapping fingers and everything else to try to get some idea of, can we go up higher? And so we've been drawing different alternative ideas with towns under both scenarios in that regard. So what we've done is we've also taken a look at where your polling places are located. And those are the dots that are up there on the map. And so that becomes another configuration, another concept, another something important to take into account. Because I'm getting feedback. Am I speaking too close? Sure.
Maybe.
There you go.
That made all the difference.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, turn on. Okay. So, we have different alternative ideas.
Mr. Bryce, excuse
Yes.
me. May I ask that you speak up a little bit or bring your
Oh,
speaker
okay.
a little closer?
I'm.
Thank you.
I've usually been accused of speaking too loudly, so okay.
Thank you.
No problem. So what we've done here is looked at different combinations and possibilities, looking at your existing precinct boundaries that you had before and taking those sometimes into account. But of course, we now have new House districts, so they can't always be the same as what they did before.
Mhm.
So what we've got is, it's basically an initial look at what's doable and possible. In this instance, we have several different parameters. Prudence Island, of course, is its own precinct. You'll see that that's got 196 registered voters there. Now, these are registered voter counts. These are not total populations or voting age population, like what we use for the redistricting side. But this is looking at what's the size of the number of registered voters in the precinct. So what we've got, precinct 1 is 196. And then we start taking a look at where would be precinct 2, and what the state board says is taking a look at what is the lowest number state house, and then, or the lowest number state senate, and then the lowest number state house. And that's where you start your new precinct configurations. So in this instance, precinct 2 is up on the top of your town. And looking at what's doable, we can get 2,700 in that first configuration. And I think that's basically using the same precinct line, isn't it?
Almost. Let's see from the road off the street off the bridge.
Okay.
It's everybody north of Boyd's Lane.
Okay.
So a slight increase in that population going to Boyd's Lane. And then the precinct, a precinct that we were able to, that you had precinct 2, that was a very small pocket from 10 years ago. And we've been able to combine that with the neighbors around to focus on kind of the center part of this northern ballot style. I currently have 3,328 voters from combining the former precinct 2 with the former precinct 4.
Which is
The southernmost boundary of that would be Immokalee Drive. I believe, yes, this all this is doing is combining precincts 2 and 4. And it's creating it's 3,338. Now, it's a little too big if they don't raise the cap to 3,500. You do have some wiggle room with precinct, what I call precinct 4, being everything south of precinct of the, now I'm going to try and say existing 2 and 4. The new precinct 4 is everything south of those to the house line. And that has 1,072 voters. And I believe we've talked about the church across the street being a polling place for that. Is that still up?
That's still an option, but
Okay.
so if I'm at Immokalee Drive off of East Main Road, do I go to Freeborn from there?
It's from Immokalee Drive
To go-
down to the line between, we have all of Prospect Farm addresses in House 71. And then we have all of Sea Meadow and Holman Street addresses in House District 72. So it's the back property line between those is the house line.
Okay, so anybody who actually lives on Prospect Lane would be in precinct 72, District 72.
Everybody north, Prospect Lane addresses are in 71.
I thought you said backyard. See, that's where I'm getting
Yeah,
a little
okay.
confused.
Okay, so I'll show you a satellite view. Okay. So like if you live like on Holman Street
Mhm.
or Sea Meadow Drive, the new line goes down the back property boundary.
So
So
you
that-
see up on the screen, we've got the aerial photography. And you can see then how that is divided there. So that's what's called back property lines. We've put those into the Census Bureau's Tiger files so that they gave us more capabilities of showing what is, different neighborhoods. It's part of a project that we had done with the state legislature back in 2015 in preparation for the 2020 census. And so we've been able to now make use of that as we've been drawing the state house, state senate boundaries. And we have that capability as we draw the precinct boundaries.
So Prospect Lane is in District 71.
Correct.
Okay. So it would be backyards.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I just want to translate so I can type these out.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah.
And then I just wanted to check too, Headley Street for where the District 71 and 72 split. The north side of Headley Street would be 71 and the south side would be 72.
Correct.
Correct.
And then going down West Main Road and going into King Charles Drive,
Mhm.
the north side of King Charles Drive and the would be 71 and the south side would be 72.
Correct.
Then we go to Thayer Drive, which is near the water,
Mhm.
because I actually drove down there. I wanted to make sure because there's Thayer Circle and Thayer Drive. And this can be confusing. So all of Thayer Drive would be in 71, 72?
Yep.
Okay, so,
Mm,
all right,
mhm, yeah.
all right. So that's 72.
Yeah.
That's where I was getting confused. I thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And anytime I said 72, that's what starts precinct 5 and higher. Yeah. So House District 71, we have precincts 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
And the line for precinct 2 as proposed here is pretty, it's everything north of Boyd's Lane until you get to Chase Road, and then it's everything north of Park. And then the rest, and then we combined precincts 2 and 4 as existing to be a proposed district for precinct 3. And then the remainder is making proposed precinct 4. But it is a little small. It's 1,072 voters. If the Senate does not approve the increase of 35, we would be able to propose moving the district line up. So where you get, 300 voters out of precinct 3 and into precinct 4. That would be my first, and we can maybe, I could maybe demonstrate where that would be.
Is Atria included in 74? It's on
Quaker
Quaker
Hill
Hill
Lane?
Lane,
Do you have an address?
125 Quaker Hill Lane.
It's
Is it at
assisted
all-
living, so there's a lot of people
Yeah,
that
if
live
it's
there.
If it's at all possible, I would like to keep them as close as possible so that they could be in precinct 20, the fourth one.
Yes, yes. No, we were almost maybe having to move away from that line, away from that center, to get 4 a little bigger.
Okay, good.
I would be comfortable, bringing up 4 to Freeborn Street. And then Power Street. To get precinct 3 down to 3,000 voters.
Okay.
If
And
we
that
do,
would just increase 5.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you wanted to give your presentation before I made my comments.
That would increase 4.
that would increase precinct 4 and bring precinct 3 as proposed down to be
Down to
at that 3,000 cap.
Yeah.
And 2 voters is not substantially more, so I think it's legal. Yeah. Okay, but yes, the address you mentioned is still in precinct 4. So it would just be 300 voters being moved to a new polling place, if that happened. Which is, pretty much, we got similar issues down, or circumstances down in the 72 part. We have, it needs to be in 3 precincts. We have almost 1,400 and proposed precinct 5, which I heard is the town hall.
It's here. It would be in this room.
Okay, and then precinct 6
Would be,
currently is it St. Barnabas Church?
yes.
And then you have the middle school
Yes.
down for the precinct, the precinct proposed 7. The one extra one you don't need is Melville School anymore.
Right.
Okay, that one, okay. This is a proposal for that. I can show. Okay. Most of the former precinct 7 is still going to the St. Barnabas Church. You can tell what we did was we basically have former precinct 8 remaining a precinct. It is on the large side at 3,300. And then so what we could do is we could determine maybe a similar shift south, adding, 300 voters to precinct 5. We can either, I don't necessarily want to do it here because these folks all live close to the middle school. I would, maybe we look at this neighborhood here instead.
Which, I'm sorry.
Between Mill Lane and Middle Road
And have those come to the
Town Hall.
town hall. I don't think it's difficult for voters, but I don't have any voters from those areas here.
I'm just trying to say, I'm trying not to move people away from a polling place that might be, walking distance, maybe. It wouldn't take much. It would just maybe take a half.
If we can keep the neighborhoods, I think that would be less confusing.
Of course, yeah. So if I just go down to Mill and Middle. Okay. pretty good line there. There's a neighborhood down here that might be big enough. Okay, that brought everyone down under 3,000. And we kept neighborhoods together. Yes. And then so as you can see, it was just kind of a slight, 300 voter shift between, going south, just to get, just to get the numbers to be below the current 3,000 voter cap.
So this is, in essence, kind of another alternative from that side. It brings you now in line with what the current law is of 3,000 without taking advantage of what they might increase. But you're still sitting at 7 precincts in town. But that, yeah, that is one less than what you have right now. So that's an idea. And we'd love to hear comments from board members, questions from board members or the public.
I just want to say it. Yeah, the trade-off was, I just want to make clear the trade-off because we had that, so that we're not having to think about adding an 8th precinct or anything. The trade-off was for being able to bring the precincts down to the currently allowed size. There was a very small shift in the number of voters changed to a new polling place. That was the trade-off. But you have made yourself maybe a little bit more comfortable with the polling place sizes at that little trade-off.
Okay. Do either of you have a question? Jackie, do you have any comments?
I think you've done a wonderful job in keeping it down. We had to eliminate 1 precinct because it was no longer available to us. And another one, the elementary schools, we had issues with COVID and the children could not be immunized at the time. So and it's not a safe environment for in and out for voters as well.
Right.
So we were able to find another location and you've accommodated what we are able to have. We looked into other facilities and they're just not possible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I certainly hope that the Senate will approve 3,500 because we are close in precinct 6, for example.
Right.
And Portsmouth still has a lot of land that is being developed. And I want to make sure that we are allowing for growth.
And that is one of the keys that as we've talked with towns, it is one thing that we keep reminding of them of that. And we have ended up in some towns, had the town planner come in to say, hey, we've got some development that we know is on the books. It's, coming through. We're likely to see another 200 housing units over here or something like that. And that suddenly has the potential of changing some of the dynamics that we're playing with. So certainly that could be a potential of if you've got, somebody that has a record of what applications have come in terms of changes to housing and housing structures and anybody putting in an apartment building or,
Yeah.
something like that would be critical to know about that.
Yeah, we see an average with the census counts and the registered voter counts, we're seeing an average of 2 voters per unit coming in. Yeah. And we've had a town with a 580 unit development being currently planned and with all the necessary permissions. So we purposely made that precinct small because they could have another 1,000 voters over the next 10 years. So we purposely made it small now so that they wouldn't be in a bind, in the mid-decade.
Go ahead, Jackie.
We don't have that many apartment complexes, but the ones that we do have, for many people who purchase them, they're the second homes. And they're not the people that are registering to vote, because we do monitor the property transfers
Okay.
in our office. And we check to see how many are registering to vote, just to see what the trends are, to try and anticipate. So unfortunately, that's
Yeah, okay.
what's happening here.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. We have something up in the air, Church Community Properties, and a potential development off of Bristol Ferry. How many people are in,
But that's one of the reasons why he reduced the number in, yeah, that would be the third precinct. Yeah, that would be in 3.
okay.
Yeah, all the numbers are going to change because everything's shifting.
Yeah.
Is that here? No. Okay. I see some,
It's where-
I see some potential development here.
It's where the Portsmouth
Senior
Senior
Center.
Center is right now.
Okay, that's right here.
Bristol Ferry Road, 110.
So then wouldn't that be an issue?
Yeah, because we're
Because
already
we're
at
at
3002.
3002, and so that'll scoot up. I mean, it's an interesting, it's just an interesting concept that you could plan for it, and then over the next 10 years, things change.
Mm.
Right.
Well, they have in the past.
Yeah.
We've changed, for example, Prudence Island.
Uh-huh.
They used to be at the fire station. It wasn't due to population increase, but we did change the polling location to the Hope Brown Center from the fire station. So changes can be made, and we'll go through the process if we need to.
That's what,
But should we,
But we're in kind of a bind now anyway, in the sense that we don't have other facilities that are available.
Available, yeah.
so
Yeah.
then, do you have, is it all right if I ask if what their plan is, if we get lucky enough and we can go up to 3,500? Is that?
so what's your question?
The question is there a plan to look at what it would be like if we can get to 3,500?
I have everything down at 3,000 now, which allows for plenty of growth,
All right, fine.
um,
I think that would
as
make
is,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
And 300 voter, it's, everyone's gonna get cards, postcards, just to say, this is your polling place.
Everyone is.
But you have given yourself some breathing room.
All right.
At this point. Have you given yourself enough breathing room if the cap stays at 3,000? That depends on how many units are coming in where people will register to vote. Yeah, it was North Kingstown was the town that we did some pre-planning for. But I think maybe that's a town where they expect permanent residents, maybe not seasonal. And so Portsmouth's more of a seasonal. So it might not be 2 voters per unit. It might be half of that. We'd be interested to see maybe what the planning department thinks about that.
We'll definitely consult them. I'll definitely talk to Gary.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm a little concerned about 3,
And
I'm
si-
I mean,
not.
anything, you're not.
No,
Okay.
I'm not. I ran the numbers for the voters that are today in those existing precincts. And the numbers at 2704 was at 3309. And that's with 2,900 active voters. The other large one that we had is the middle school, and that was at 3279. And that I'm talking about with the current active, inactive, pending, and active with NCOA voters as of today. That was at 3279 with 2,900 active voters. And we accommodate them very well. There is no
Right.
complaints about long lines
Oh, no, that's not the concern. I just want to make sure that we are within the,
Right.
and staffing, we can staff them.
Yeah, we,
I can get between West Main Road and the 24, I can get 125 voters into 4. If you want that. I mean,
Who's 4 now? 4 is
4 is
going to be
with-
the church.
Yes.
up here.
Now, do you have a maximum number of voters that you want going to the church?
No, we don't. I have a conversation with the fire marshal to find out what that is, but he didn't have any concerns that it's a public building designed for public use. And there's plenty of parking. It's just not paved. We'll have to deal with that with ADA, but the one that it's replacing, which is 2705, which was the school, had 1,200 voters in it altogether. So,
But I did with just one census block and neighborhood, we gave another less of a cap. You can see 3 would now be 2877. And I'm just, instead of you going down West Main Road, it's the highway turnpike,
Mhm.
so this is the time, you can do all this stuff between elections, but most efficiently it's done
Yeah.
right now, this month, yeah.
I like the way you've drawn these. I think they're clean. I'm thinking of the phone calls that we get from people who
Right.
are saying, my neighbor across the street goes here and I go here. And I don't understand when people right next door to us across the street had to go to St. Barnabas rather than walking across the crosswalk. That's been fixed. They can-
If it's a house line, then you have no say. King
Right, if
Charles,
it-
yeah.
And we can explain that, but
Yeah.
in terms for precincts wise that are in
right.
this exact same district, and we can set, was the criteria. These are the limited numbers as close as possible to the existing neighborhoods that you live in, where the precincts are available.
so you're okay with the slight revision that Ryan just made?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that gives us more breathing room.
Yeah.
Yeah, a plan like this, we could do this read index right away if it was approved. This would pass no matter what the Senate does.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We don't have to
Correct.
wait and to
Right.
find out
Yeah.
what the Senate is. And we have the meeting scheduled on Thursday for you to vote on this and,
And we won't have to wait.
Right.
Right.
So that'd be a good thing.
Yep.
and we can let the people know. We can send out another press release, just giving them an idea of where it is. And would we have a visual that we could post from you?
Yeah,
So that
we
people
can
could-
generate a map.
Because as I was
Yeah.
going through the legislation, they said, census block, whatever number. I'm like,
Yes.
that's not helpful.
Not
helpful.
Not
Yes, I know, yes.
helpful at
Yeah,
all.
it would be very helpful for all of us to have.
I tell
Better
people all the
grasp
time,
on
just
it.
a really good map answers all the questions.
Yes, it does.
Right, and that's,
Because census, people would almost rather us use census blocks as district boundaries than roads because it keeps neighborhoods together, but then it's harder to follow, if you're reading the description. So yeah, nothing beats a really good map.
if they just told me which streets were in that census block, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
But you will. Oh,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
Right, are there any further questions from the panel here? Okay. Have you said everything are you done with your presentation at the moment?
I believe so. We're here to answer questions if you.
Okay, well, I don't know if anyone's on Zoom, but does anyone in the audience have any questions? Could you please mention your name and address?
Yeah, just come on out.
You gotta turn it on.
Yeah, you'll have to turn it on,
You
make
have
it
to turn
turn
it on.
green.
There you go.
Does it turn green?
Just slide it, I believe. Nope, just press it. It should turn green when it's
did.
on. Oh, okay. Doesn't.
I'm sorry.
We don't see it.
Nancy Grebe, 110 Thayer Drive. So you're telling me that King Charles Drive is divided. Once the north side is one precinct and the south side is.
No, it's one district. It's divided by the district. The state house did that. We didn't. We have no control over that, Nancy.
That's what I thought you said, 72, but that's not what, okay.
It's right there.
Yeah, the north side of King Charles is 71. The south side would be 72. We have no influence, honest to God.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Is there anyone on Zoom that we need?
No hands up?
All right. Well, do I have a motion to adjourn? Is there anything else that needs to be discussed at the moment?
There was nothing else on the agenda.
Okay, we are meeting on Thursday at 3 o'clock to vote on this.
I would just say add, if there's a town planner available who might
Mhm.
want to send us some GIS files of potential development with some notes about the units, we would take a look at that and see if there's anything that we should make the board aware of. But it would take, you would have to have like 100 units coming in to an area that would be filled out in the next 10 years for me to really be concerned. I mean, but if there are, we should know about it now.
And honestly, I do believe that if the 3,500 does not get passed this session, that it will be pursued.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's something that's going to go away.
go away, right.
Okay. So Jackie, I thought I'd heard you mention you were going to contact the town planner?
Yep, I'll contact Gary
Okay,
immediately to see if there's anything that we should be concerned
Concerned
about.
about, yeah.
In what areas. The only unit that I know of is the seniors
mhm,
center, and that's it. The towers are already in existence.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And all of the other developers that I see coming into Leon, because we share office space, are single home.
Really, okay.
They're not multi-unit.
okay. Well, with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I second it.
Okay, thank you. It is officially 6:38 and the meeting is over. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
So Ryan, will I get a visual or?
Yes, I'll send a visual of this plan. Yes.
That's great. And
Yes.
we'll post it for anybody who couldn't come to the meeting.
And then do we have a I want to make sure I have the second meeting on my calendar.
It's Thursday at 3 PM. And I can send you an invitation, so if you wanted to, just wherever you are. just
On the road to Bridgeport.
On the road to Bridgeport, if you wanted to just.
Yeah.
Come on in and, because they'll be
Yeah.
looking at the plan that you give me
Okay.
and voting on it.
I'm probably going to be driving, but I'll volunteer Kim to call in to listen in.
Okay.
Yeah, just answer questions that are posed. Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah, I'm not, yeah. Safety first.